Welcome to the Jeff Canada Show. But if you're going to get your feelings hurt, you might need to turn this shit off.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of the Jeff Canada Show, shit show, whatever you want to call it. I have a new person here that I haven't met until tonight. This is the first time I've ever met him. It is Buster Clifton Davis. He's a singer-songwriter, badass. I've been following him on social medias for a while and love his stuff. So what's up, dog?
What's up, dude? Thanks for having me on.
Absolutely. All your stuff sucks. It's not good. I only wanted you on here so I could tell you that in person.
I figured I got enough friends that tell me that. I guess I could use one more.
Absolutely. No, dude, I really like your stuff. I'm not quite sure when I first stumbled on your stuff. I don't know if you followed me first or if I followed you first. I have no idea.
Can't remember.
But I dig your stuff, man. Like your stuff's
Thanks,
really
dude.
good.
Yeah,
Really,
dude.
really
I checked
good.
out actually
It's-
when we talked about doing this, I did a deep dive into your stuff and I dig it a lot too, man.
Oh, well, you don't
hell
have
of
to
a
say that.
voice on you.
I'm gonna air this regardless. You don't have to give me brownie.
Oh, okay, cool. I thought it was like the payment for getting on here.
Yeah. So tell me just a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, man. I grew up in southern Missouri, a little town called Ava, about an hour east of Springfield. Really just grew up doing the same thing every other musician did, was just playing in church and stuff like that. And never really even left the state until I was 19 or 20. And then a group reached out to me from Detroit and was like, hey, you want to go live in a bus and tour? And so moved to Detroit and did that. Did that for about a year and a half, and then moved back to Missouri for about a month. And I was like, nope, not ready to be back home yet. And so I actually lived in Fort Wayne, Indiana for 4 or 5 years and worked for Sweetwater for a long time. And so did that and played in some bands up there, and then just moved back to southern Missouri. Coming up on 4 years now. And then met my wife, and so moved down to Northwest Arkansas about 10 months ago. So got married.
Where you at in Arkansas?
Pea Ridge, so right around like the Bentonville, Fayetteville, Rogers area.
Sweet. Yeah, we're currently looking for land in Mena right now, or that area.
Well, hell yeah, dude. Yeah.
A little south of Fort Smith. We want to buy a couple 100 acres. We want to open up a campground. That's like the retirement plan, I think. I don't know. That could change tomorrow. Who knows? But I love
Dude,
Arkansas.
we've been going through it too.
How old are you?
I will be 30 in 6 days.
Oh, cool. So your birthday's coming up and you're a young pup, dude. That's pretty rad.
Young pup. Yeah. Not feeling like it anymore. I think 30's the break over where you stop saying that, but still feel like it in some aspects, and then some aspects don't. But
Well, I'll be 47 next month, so it's like everybody's a young that's 30 or below, in my opinion, or really 30. Anybody younger than 10 years is a young pup in my eyes. I got that grandpa thing going on. You know?
You got it. The salt and pepper.
So, do you write the majority of your songs? Do you co-write?
Mhm.
Where are you at on your writing process for your stuff?
I've done a little bit of co-writing. The majority of my stuff, yeah, it's just me. I enjoy co-writing. You know, I feel like, especially on those, you know, all of us have those half-done songs in your voice recording app that, you know, you're just like, well, I can't do shit with this. I like doing co-writing for that stuff. But yeah, everything out other than one song is a co-write, or is a solo write, and then I've got one with Jake Stringer that we did a co-write together.
Oh, cool. So you've only released one co-write out of everything?
Yeah, I've only released one co-write. There's another one coming up that I just cut. I just went down to Little Rock and cut a bunch of tunes, and one of those is a co-write. I have a buddy of mine helped finish up some stuff on one of them. But yeah, everything's pretty well just solo writes. I've trying to get more into co-writing, ride some coattails as I release music and do that stuff and steal some audience members. Haven't got too much of it set up and locked in yet.
Yeah, I don't know if that stuff works anymore, man. Like,
Yeah.
it's such an odd time to be in this industry, man. I'm not like I'm not sure that co-writes or collabs or any of that
Yeah.
stuff actually translates anymore. I mean, I know a guy I know just he released a song with Cody Johnson, and
Oh, no shit.
Yeah, as a collab, and I still don't think anybody really knows who he is. So, it's
Yeah.
very it's everything is so short-lived now. Um, it's very, very difficult to stand out. So,
Yeah. I think
I
that's
mean,
the
I try
reason
to
we
tell
started talking
everybody,
about doing this.
yeah, everybody in the business, man, you gotta be in it for the love of the art first and foremost. If that's not your first and foremost, man, you're wasting your time. And I
Very
hate
much
to
so.
say that, but it's just the way it is, you know what I mean?
Yeah, dude, I've been playing full time for almost 2 years now, and we talked about that as I'm going back to a regular job, uh, just because, like what you're saying, man, it's just everything's very short lifespan on anything. It makes it hard to have those tunes where you're just like, man, that guy was one of the greats, and it's like it's tough to know if we're gonna have any of those anymore.
Yeah, for sure. I brought that up multiple times, but I watched that biopic on Bob Dylan.
Hmm.
Back in those days, you could literally go into a crowd, and if you knew how to play guitar and sing, they would give you a chance. Now,
Yeah,
if you didn't keep them, then that was one thing. Nowadays, you don't even like, if you can write the best song in the world and you get up on a stage and you play that song, they're not gonna listen to what you're saying,
yeah, it goes. A few people might take a video of it that they're never gonna look back in their photo album again at.
right? Yeah. So you really just have to be in it for the art. And so
Very much.
kudos to
Yeah.
you for recognizing that, because I have a lot of musicians tell me that they can't wait to be a full-time musician. I can't wait to be a full-time musician.
I was one of those guys.
I'm telling you right now, unless you're perfectly okay playing 3 to 4 hour cover shows, um, you're gonna it's it's just not gonna work, man, because that's really the only way you can really make money until you get to that point where you're selling 500, 600, 700, 1,000 tickets everywhere you go. And
Exactly.
that's the hardest transition that people don't realize. It's like, once you get to that status where you're selling 14, 1,500 tickets everywhere you play, you're fine. You'll have a career for as long as you keep doing that.
Yeah,
But
exactly.
the But really, man, to get to the point where you're going from selling 1 or 2 tickets to selling 100 tickets is such a huge it's so hard these days. It wasn't hard years ago. It is now, and it's just where we are. It actually, it's better off for you if you really wanna write and play your own music. It's better off for you to get your day job, pay your bills with a day job, and use these apps, go live on TikTok, book your shows strategically to go out and play shows. It's
Yeah.
much better to do it that way than it is to just go out there and be a road dog and just
Mhm.
starve.
And dude, that's kind of the thing that I've been seeing because like I said, I've been playing live or full time for almost 2 years now. And in that time, like the fun shows are the ones where like, holy shit, we might have made gas money, you know? And it's like, those are the fun ones. And the thing about it is, it's like, and it's the same thing that like a promoter is going to sell you on like an opening gig kind of thing. They're like, hey man, I'll give you $100, come open for this guy. It's for the exposure. And there's two sides of that. And one is like, man, you were taking some serious advantage of some people doing that. But the other side of is it's true because the fun shows where you are, rubbing shoulders with guys that are doing more than you, where they're drawing a crowd that's not yours and you get to go play in front of them. It is good for your career, but like you're going to eat shit doing it, you know?
100%. Yeah, the shows that it's funny because the shows that actually affect your career, you're not gonna make crap on.
Mm-mm.
Shows that don't and the shows that you make the most amount of money on don't affect you.
Your background music, man, your background music for a corporate gig.
Right. So, I mean, y I did it for years. I mean, 19 years I was a full-time musician. That's all I did
Hmm.
for years. And, the majority of that up until 2020 was playing the cover shows, making money.
Hmm.
And the problem with being a full-time musician is, like, say this Friday night, you have a gig where you're making $300, right?
Yeah.
And then somebody says, "Hey, man, do you wanna go, come hop on this show with me over here, and it's a sold out show, but man, I can only really pay you $150." because you're doing it for a living, you're not, and because you don't want to cancel that other show because you don't want a bad name, and also it's $300. So it's you end up taking gigs that you and turning down gigs that you normally wouldn't turn down if you're doing it solely for the money.
Exactly. And, I did a lot of that. There was plenty of times where I had a show where it was just like a money show, at a brewery or something like that, to where, yeah, you're making $300-400 and then get an opportunity like that. And I did, man. I cancel it and I'll be like, I'll figure out what the hell I'm going to eat, after that. See whose couch I can sleep on after that kind of thing. Thankfully, doing all this stuff and, with my wife, she's very much wanted me to keep playing full time for a long time, and because she just wants me to do the thing that I love doing, and she'd be like, I got you, I've got us, it's okay. uh, I don't feel good doing that. It's kind of where
Right.
it's come to a head for me, is that, like, I don't feel good doing that. And at the end of the day, another side of that is, I was talking to Jake about this the other day, actually, and it's like, man, when you're playing those shows that you're just background music, nobody gives half a shit that you're there. You may get one or two people come up to you being like, man, you're really good. But the vast majority of it's like, okay, I'm going to play all this stuff, and until I play some, well-known cover song, they don't give a shit that I'm there. It devalues you, you know, as a musician. Like, people see that you're playing these like cover gigs and like that. They're like, oh yeah, he's just like, the weekend warrior doing it. They're like, nope, this is actually paying my bills. People look at that stuff and it's like, it's like the uncle at the fish fry. And that may be a hick way to put that, but it's, your uncle at the fish fry that pulls out his guitar and does that shit. It's pretty similar to that. And it just devalues you and devalues your art, because you're not putting your songs and the stuff that you've poured everything into in the best light and giving it the best chance. You're just throwing it out there for a bunch of, half paying attention, if you're lucky, people.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's what I say all the time. I mean, people ask me why I slowed down. It's like because I'm 47 years old, I don't know how many notes I have left to sing, and I'm not gonna waste any more of them singing for people that don't give a shit. Like,
Dude,
it's
that's a
that
great
simple.
way to put it.
People, people kinda get on me for complaining about it, but it's not a complaint. It's just, how would you feel if society took away your happy place?
Yeah.
You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
dude.
Because for years and years and years, I was able to get on stage and entertain people regardless of what I was playing and have a great time doing it and make fans. Like I tell this story all the time. My very first ticketed event ever was in 2020, and I sold out a room over 450 tickets
No
because
shit.
of all the fans that I made from covers. But that
Hmm.
was back in 2020. You can't do that now.
Do you
It's
think COVID just like killed the industry? Do you think it was just COVID that killed the industry and the way that everything works? Or
man, I think a lot of things happened. I I think there's some things that aren't our fault, meaning musicians. I think that COVID happened. I think that during COVID, a lot of people got laid off and they thought, "Fuck it, I'm gonna go chase my dream." Uh,
hmm
and so they started putting out music. And then that what that did is that oversaturated the market. I think that being from Texas, Texas has always been had a superb music scene, at least for like the last 3 decades. But during COVID, we were one of the first states to open back up, so a bunch of musicians moved here. So Texas does not have, don't let anybody fool you. Texas is not the music scene it used to be. It's
Yeah, I
not.
just went down there and did a run of shows.
Yeah, it's not. I mean, it's the people, most people that go to the venues don't give a shit. The most venues that are just live music venues are closing down because don't care enough to go support live music. So what they're doing is they're going to these like menu venues and saying they're live music fans. They're going to these venues that have golden tee and punching bag games and big ass screen TVs and all this stuff, but they're putting a band on stage saying it's a live music venue, so that way they can give a little bit of everything to everybody, and it does a disservice to the music. But there's nothing you could do about it because those business owners are making money. You
Yeah.
know, I got a buddy of mine right here that owns a venue here in Houston, and that he opened it up to be a live music Texas country venue. He opened up in 2021. They actually are barely even doing Texas country now. They've moved to like tribute bands and cover bands and stuff like, or even really hard rock bands or whatever, just whatever will bring people because people just aren't coming in to see live music the way they used to.
Yeah.
And
And the
yeah,
thing about it is like like metal scenes, like everybody's kind of got their scene, and it very much varies, and it seems like to me, because I played like when I was touring and a lot of the other bands, like I was doing more like rock, indie punk, like doing stuff like that for a while. And when I'm doing that stuff, or when I was doing that stuff, I had, we had a scene that people were showing up. You made buddies in the scene, and it was like that, and we're all just dingy, dirty kids kind of thing. And,
right.
you're going to have a crowd kind of thing. And it seems like as I've grown up and I've, you know, gotten to be a 30-year-old dude, it's like, oh, all the other 30-year-old dudes is kind of like their taste has gone to more of what I want to play now. They're all like, man, yeah, my back hurts. I want to sit on the couch instead and do that stuff, which, the grungy kid never left me. I still like going to see original shows and finding a new cool local band or original band. I was never in the like bar hopping scene to go just catch a cover band kind of thing. I had cooler friends than that. So it was like uh it just never tracked with me. But it's something that people will say that they love, and then you're like, all right, great. Well, where have you been for the last year in every one of my shows?
Yeah, that I mean, but you got to look at it, man. Like the phones, right? Like we can
Mm-hmm.
talk about the phones at the venues, but the phones are also a huge reason why people aren't coming to the venues. For example, if you put out a flyer, right, and you say, "Hey, I'm playing at so and so bar on Friday night," and you'll get 150, 200, 300, 400 people RSVP saying they're coming to that show. But then Friday morning they wake up and they're surfing their little social media and they see something else come up and it's like, ah, fuck it, I'm gonna go do this instead. Even if I
Mm-hmm.
bought a $20 ticket, I don't care. So really, it's like we have to charge a certain number of dollars for a ticket to get people to care, but then that's too expensive for some other people that do care. It's
Yeah.
like a lose-lose situation because there's so many options available.
Yeah.
And you top that off, and I've brought this up a million times, you top that off on where the quality overall, I'm not saying there's not great artists out there and there's great entertainers out there. What I'm saying is if you take everyone who's playing live music and you put them in a bucket, right? The overall quality of the show that are being put on stages all across the United States, maybe even the world, I don't know, is slop. It's subpar, it's half-ass, it's not prepared, it's reading lyrics off an iPad, it's using a looper pedal so that way you can play a 5-minute intro and then barely sing so you can take breaks singing. And I'm talking about cover bands, original bands, all the above. And because the general public doesn't see a difference in a cover
Mm-hmm.
original band. They just see somebody that plays music. That's all they see.
Yeah.
So they don't really understand the difference that no, we're actually out here trying to build a brand and build something for ourselves. We're not just playing other people's songs. But they
Yeah.
don't see that. They see somebody playing music. And every time you open your app, somebody's playing music. Every time you turn on TV, somebody's playing music. Every time you go to a Mexican food restaurant or a coffee shop or whatever, someone's playing music. And it's awesome that so many people are playing music, but what it has done is supply and demand. There's so much supply out there that the general public does not demand it anymore. And
Yeah.
you can argue that if you want to, you can, but every single person I know that's in the industry, from the lowest of the low to the highest of the high, they're all saying the same thing I'm saying.
For sure. For sure. And that's the thing. And it's like, you can't really argue with that because I mean, trying to book, like you book with any brewery, most of these breweries are booking out 6, 8 months a year out in advance. And some of them are, like once a monthers, they're coming out and playing once a month kind of thing. And, I did that for a minute. But the thing about it is like, you have all these kids that are doing it and starting it up, and which, dude, I got into when I first moved back to Missouri. Dude grabbed me and he was playing a brewery. He goes, man, if these kids would just stop doing this, they'd stop booking these kids if they'd stop doing this. I was like, no, dude, like you've got to build the scene. Like, yes, it is very oversaturated for sure. That's the problem. But you also can't stop booking these kids that are starting out to play that brewery show. You can't stop booking those kids because it's like, who the fuck were you when you were doing that? Where were you playing to do it? Yeah, you were playing dirty bars, you were playing breweries, you started out that same way, and you still have to give that opportunity to let that grow. And so that's not a fix, is to just stop booking those guys. It's to build a scene, like, and that's the thing that I feel like is missing in so many places now, is just a legitimate scene. And there's a place like in Fayetteville, Georgia's great scene that Brian has built, an awesome scene around that. And that place draws, it's vibey, like it's got fans of the venue. And if you can build venue fans and then take care of artists where they like that venue, have a good show, the people take care of them, then you're taking care of the scene and you're cultivating a scene. But if it's just people in a brewery being like, hey, I'll pay you $200 to come play for 3-4 hours, make sure you don't play too many originals. That's not building a scene. That's just throwing some background music out there and it's not doing shit. It's good to get your feet wet when you're a kid and don't know how to play shows yet and everything. You know, I mean, shit, they've got a leg up on half of these guys getting signed right now as far as what kind of shows they're playing.
For sure, 100%.
But there's got to be diversification as far as the scenes go, you know?
No, I agree, man. And that's the problem. You know, here in Houston, you go out and you see a cover band, you know, they're playing the same 35, 40 songs that they've been playing since 2005.
And it's drawing.
It's just insane. And then they wonder why nobody wants to come out and see them play. And also, you know, another huge problem is because of how convenient information is, how convenient new artists is, you can't even hold on to fans anymore. You know, I'm gonna give you an example. Like me, like I'm a diehard Pearl Jam fan. I love
Okay.
Pearl Jam to the moon and back. I don't care what their political stances are. I don't care what crazy shit they do. Pearl Jam is my all-time favorite band, right? And anytime they come to town, I try to go see them play. It's just been the way that I've always been. I'm a fan of theirs, right? But also, like, I'm a fan of Tanner Usray. I'm a fan of Jordan. Like, I'm a fan. But nowadays, like, I have people that 2 years ago were coming to 2 or 3 shows a year of mine, and now they're not even they're not coming out, they're not interacting with me on social media, and I don't think it's because I did anything to piss them off. I think it's just because the information is not there for them to see anymore.
Yeah.
Or, you know, either way, they're just not as hardcore of a fan as they were, and why is that? You know, and then you start tracking back to what did you do? Like, I can go look at days when I got the most unfollows on Instagram and I posted something, I can tell always, well, okay, well, that post pissing people off that follow me. You know, it just is what it is, and that's okay because we should all be our true selves, and people that don't wanna follow that, you know, let them go anyway. But it's just, you know, I all the time, I have people be like, "Well, I didn't even know you're playing in my," and I posted about it 25 fucking times and put money behind the ad. You know, unless you can actually keep track of the people and text them and say, "Hey, I'm gonna be at this place on this date." But man, who can do that if you're playing enough shows to make a living?
And you can't, dude. It's just, there's not enough minutes in a day to
Yeah.
take care of all that stuff and have to, like, keep up with everybody. And here's the thing, is like my whole plan, when I started, was to be on the road. And especially like 6-8 months ago, my plan was to be on the road pretty much full time, as much as possible, every single weekend, because I was like, all right, I got to break out of Springfield. I played a lot in Springfield. I haven't played in Springfield, like a legitimate just band show in Springfield, in probably 6 months. And I'm not for another 3 or 4 months. And it's my home market. And I live 2 hours from there now. And because people quit coming to my shows, you know, is because I was oversaturating that market. And so my plan was to just hit the road. And then it's just like, okay, I'm going to go out there. I'm going to stay till every bar closes. I'm going to talk to everybody that I can, make friends with all of these people, try and play shows they like. And, you know, it happens, it works. And that's the way it used to be too. Is like, yeah, man, you show up and you play to 15 people in this place. And then you show up to the bar across town and you play to 15 people in that one. And then you leave and you come back next month and those 30 people they brought some of their friends, and dude, you just sold 60 tickets in this place. And it's like, you know, obviously it happens slower than that. But the thing about it is, and I don't think that's changed. I think you can still do that to a point. I think it's probably slowed a little bit, but it doesn't keep up with the way everything else is moving. Everything else is moving to where it's like, oh, dude, if you don't have this many followers on TikTok, we're not booking you anyway. If you don't have this many listeners per month, if you don't have this or that or the other. And it's like, dude, I can like cuss on here. We're gonna say whatever.
Yeah, fuck it.
Okay.
Hell yeah.
All right,
Just don't
cool.
say cunt. Whatever you do, don't say cunt because I don't want to
Okay,
get in
dude, I
trouble.
never say cunt. We're not British. Um, but I fucking hate TikTok. I fucking hate doing social media. I hate doing videos for it. I hate all that shit. And it's the only way to do it. But then also you're like pouring all this stuff and I feel like I'm sitting here being just a stupid fucking cocksucker by making these videos and they don't get seen anyway. My best videos are one that were like a viral song about me bitching about my wife's coffee and still drinking it when she's gone. And then the other one was me calling Gavin Adcock a dick wrinkle. And I stand by that. But it's like I have to do that to break 30,000 views when other people are like, man, I'm going to go sing in a parking garage and here's 2 million views. And it's just like, man, wow. Like maybe I should go sing in a parking garage. But then I go do something that I'm like, dude, that's going to fucking kill. And it's
But
like
when's the last time
250.
that's happened? When's the last
Uh,
time that somebody's singing in a parking garage and get 2 million views? See,
I think that Bailey Zimmerman kid.
yeah, like the last, like every expert that I'm talking to is telling me that TikTok's faded out.
Has it?
Um,
Okay.
that's all that's everybody that's telling me. I mean, I still post to TikTok.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not 100% to anything anymore, but you know, that's so what happens is this is what happens, right? So an independent person finds a chink in the armor. Okay. Take Oliver Anthony, for example. You find the chink in the armor or whatever accidentally and you blow up because of something happened. The problem is, as soon as that happens, what the labels do is they flood whatever that guy did with horse shit. That's what they do. So what happened is Oliver Anthony blew up, and the labels went and told all of their artists, "Hey, go out in the woods and record it and put it on put it out there on TikTok." And it's not because they think it's going to work for them; it's because they don't want independent artists breaking through without their claws in you. Period. End of sentence. So the labels flood the market, just like they're doing with AI and Spotify, because independent artists can find their way through Spotify. Well, not anymore. You have no choice. Like you cannot there's nothing that you can do to market your music short of unless you're doing something that is so different and so special that it's going to catch eyes, like Steven Wilson Jr.,
Of
like
course. Yeah.
that Ren. I don't know if you've seen that Ren guy. He's
Oh,
got
it's
that song
fucking
High Road.
sick, dude.
It's insane. So
Yeah.
unless you're doing something that is so unique and so different, you have no shot
Yeah.
because there's a million people that are trying to do the same thing, right? There's a million people trying to sound like Cody Johnson. There's a million people trying to sound like Zach Bryan and Morgan Wallen and Lainey Wilson and Miranda Lambert. Like all these people that are successful, there's a million copycats out there. And all that does is create more noise, which suppresses the independent artists.
Yeah.
Period.
Yeah.
That's it. And again, I repeat, if you're in this business and you're not already above a certain point, it's got to be about the art.
Yeah. And it
Because
should
it's
be the entire way, but
yeah, if it's not, you're gonna. I mean, I have a friend of mine who's super popular, who has been signed to WME, who signed a management deal, who's going on tours with Lucas Nelson and Ashley McBride and all these people, and she's miserable
yeah.
because it's not moving the needle.
Yeah.
Even though she's getting all these opportunities, it's not moving the needle, and she's phenomenal. So yeah, I don't. It just is what it is, man. Like it's just we are where we are, and there's
Yeah.
not much we can do about it except for dive into the art and be like, okay, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put out my songs the way I want to put them out. I'm gonna
Hmm.
do it my way, and hopefully an audience finds me.
Yeah.
They
Yeah.
don't. At least I can say I did it my way and I didn't sell my soul to do something that is not me.
Yeah.
You
And
know?
that's what I'm going back to as well is that, dude, I like when a full record comes out. I like a record dropping and being able to just go through what this dude was going through when he was writing all this stuff. And that's the way I'm doing it. And honestly, this record isn't cohesive at all. I have such a spectrum of different types of songs on there. And I think it's awesome, but I'm just going to drop them in one record. They probably should be singles, but I like when somebody drops a record and does that. like we talked about, I'm just like done with the rat race bullshit of the industry standard stuff, because there is no actual standard anymore. Because, that was always all set up by the labels and run by the labels, and nobody needs labels anymore. And I think everybody pretty much knows that, and knows that, you know, labels are kind of predators, essentially, as far as the music industry goes. Um, but yeah, again, going back to the saturation issue, that is just like, you know, when you have that much, and like you said, the kind of the average quality level coming down, it does make people like, man, I've got a really good show on Netflix right now. I want to go finish and do that. And it's just like, there's so much different stuff people are inundated with that. Yeah, I mean, live music, as much as it's cool on Instagram to be a person that goes and watches live music, or this concert chick or whatever you are, it's just like, it's not the case. And I was talking to a buddy about this the other day. I was like, dude, if everybody could just shut down independent shows for a year or two, and nobody had any shows to go to when they really wanted to, and nobody had anything to post for their Instagram for it, and then all they had was Netflix or, trivia night at the bar or whatever. If you just took it away for a while and we all just hunkered down and wrote the best shit we ever wrote in our lives, and then came out in 2 years and we're like, all right, live music timeout's over, we're gonna start playing shows again. Like, would that bring people out? I don't know, but it's like the only thing that I can even think of that would make it to where people want to go just to see live bands anymore. Because it's like, what other incentive do you have to see a big show other than, a 1 or 2 or 300 cap room show? Like, you buy a $15 ticket, and a lot of times it's a sick band. Like, there are so many sick bands. There are more sick bands on our level than there are playing stadiums. And so it's like,
100%.
what instead? It's down the road. It's a $15 ticket, cheap beer. Like, what the fuck else do you want out of this? But instead, you're like, you want to go watch Morgan Wallen sing over tracks and sound like a douchebag on stage and pay $300 to do it. It's like, if he was any dude in your high school, you'd be like, that guy needs his ass kicked. And that's most of the people that are really going on this stuff. And obviously, I don't know these guys or anything like that, but it pays to be a douchebag, it seems like, is all that I see. And it's just like, I'm not going to be
Dude,
a douchebag.
100% agree, man. I think with Gavin Adcock and with Zach Bryan and with uh, Morgan Wallen, but it's kind of always been that way. You had the guys from Puddle of Mud, you had Guns N' Roses, you had all these different people that have always been jackasses. The only difference was is those guys were putting out superior music to everybody else around them. Where now, Gavin Adcock's terrible. He's terrible.
God awful,
Like,
dude.
it's the guy can't sing in key to save his life. You know, he's a bigger version of Ko Wetzel that's not near as talented.
Yeah, Co Wetzel plays him on a fucking table every day of the week.
I agree 100%. Ko Wetzel is fantastic live. Gavin
Mm-hmm.
Adcock's live.
It's
Yeah,
a
and that's the
joke,
whole
dude.
thing. Like, if you go down the list, Warren Zevers, terrible live. Bailey Zimmerman, terrible live. Morgan Wallen, he does put on a good show, but it's all fake. Zach Bryan he's actually pretty good live. And I think Zach's kind of got a bad rap a little bit, even though a lot of it's his fault.
Probably.
I don't know.
Yeah, a lot of it is fault. He's kind of got that douchebag role of doing a lot of stupid shit. And here, like, we've all done stupid shit. If all of our stuff was out for everybody fine, like, be like, damn, dude, I wish I didn't do that. And we've all got that stuff. My only complaint with him is that, like, man, write something different. That's my complaint for it, is that there's so much of the same kind of thing. And
Yeah, I would 100% agree with you. But, you know, again, if we just get back, and this is something I've like really been coming to terms with this year. If we just get back to stop measuring ourselves against everybody else and just look at what we've actually done, like like if I was to work as hard as I've worked for the last 5 years, and if I was getting the numbers that I've gotten over the last 5 years, if I did that 10 years ago, I would probably be a household name right now. You know, like I just had a video get 12 million views on Facebook, right?
Jesus.
And it's a me telling the crowd to shut the fuck up, but it doesn't matter. It's still involved. It still has to do with my music and me. And it's like 5 years ago, if I got somebody to see my shit for $12 million, 12 million people, I would be on Ellen show.
Yeah.
You know what I
Yeah, and it's
mean? Or
nothing now.
the late night show or something like that. But now it's like, nah, it's just a day in the life of all this stuff because it's not real views. It's not
Yeah.
people really see. That's the thing. There's so much content being put out there that no one can actually absorb it all unless you're doing something like I said that's so different and so unique. You know, so it's like if you're gonna set in your room, I saw a guy the other day called, or a while back, called Carpet Man or something, right? He's got a killer voice and does killer covers, and he's really great, but he's completely covered his body in carpet, so you can't tell who he is. And it's like, yeah, and he does it like real low lighting and stuff, and it's like it's really cool what he's doing, and people watch the shit out of that. But man, like, why you used to not have to have a gimmick. You used to just be
Yeah.
able to lean on your music, that was it, and now you can't, and it's just the world, man, and we can't complain about it anymore. We just have to do what we gotta do to find peace
Yeah.
and, uh, and make the you know, whatever dent we can in this thing,
Yeah.
you
And
know?
that's unfortunate. Like the bummer side of it is it's fucked up and there's nothing like realistically, there's nothing that we can do as independent artists to fix it other than just keep writing good fucking music that's real and playing shows the way that you want to play them and have fun with it. Like that's the only thing. Like if everybody keeps doing that, it's the only chance it ever has of changing. Now on the bright side of it, all you have to do is do the thing that you love. And at the end of the day, like you said, if you can pay the bills another way and still do the thing that you love and figure out how to be happy with that, because here's the thing, at the end of the day, if you aren't doing this, if you hate doing this because people aren't showing up and you're not famous, then you don't love the music side of it as much, you know? Now, that's a drawing tickets and doing that and playing a good show is part of having the thing that you love happen because nobody is telling the truth if they say that they love it just as much to an empty room playing a show. That's just not the case. If you
Right,
say that, you're
it's not.
lying.
It's not the case, but I tell you what is the case, at least for me, I would rather play for 15 people that are paying attention to what I'm doing than play in front of 8,000 people that aren't, and I mean that, and I've done
8 days
both.
of the week, 8 days out of
Yeah,
the week, dude.
and
Absolutely.
so I think that's what we gotta get back to, and that's kinda what I started doing with these free house concerts and stuff,
Hmm.
um, is, like, just going out and, like, finding hosts that are into live music and saying, "Okay, your job is to bring 10, 15, 20, 30 people to your house. I'm gonna show up, I'm gonna play a 90-minute set, but if I'm not the center of attention, I'm leaving." I'm that adamant about it because I the whole goal is to play in front of people that are gonna listen to what I have to say, right? Now, if I do that show and you don't like me, then cool, then don't be my fan, that's not gonna happen, right? I bet on myself enough, and so that's what I started doing, and it feeds my soul. I don't have to deal with bar owners. I don't have to deal with bookers. I don't have to deal with talent buyers. I don't have to deal with managers being in a bad mood. I don't have to deal with door guys being shitty to people that want to come in. I don't have to deal with bar tabs. I don't have to deal with drunks. Like if I'm uncomfortable, I just leave. It's that simple. You know, it's not like I have a guarantee at some honky tonk that's shitty and I'm making whatever and I have to play that gig. Like it's not that. That's not what this is. You know,
Yeah.
it's also not a birthday party. It's not a wedding. It's not an anniversary. It's like it's a house
A house show.
concert.
Yeah.
And
And
so
shit, dude, that was the funnest shows coming up anyway. That was like,
yeah, man, it's checking all my boxes. So between my now and my day job and doing those, I mean, I play a couple of little small venues that I still play every now and then. And then what I'm gonna do is just be very, very strategic about the what I book on the road. You know, sometimes it makes sense just for me to get in a plane and fly to Wisconsin and rent equipment and play a show and fly back than it does for me to route 5 shows there where I'm losing my ass every night just to
Yeah.
try to get you some fans. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, and I think the only way this is not a music problem. This is
No,
society.
not at all. Very much so. Yeah.
Society problem.
It's
Everybody's dealing with this shit. You know, every mechanic shop is now dealing with shade tree, people at their, looking up on YouTube and fixing shit at their house, right? Every single person that used to depend on people coming into their store, coming to their place of business is having problems. Everybody
yeah,
with the economy. I think the only way to fix it is a worldwide blackout for like 3 years. That's what I think,
dude.
and we all go back to sending hunting and the barter system and killing each other and then going from town to town and swapping entertainment for food.
Yeah, dude. That's, I mean, honestly,
I don't
probably so. And that's, you bring up hunting and fishing and stuff like that. That was my main decision for going back to a regular job is a making sure that, my wife is fine being a sugar mama. She's good at it. She's great, but I don't feel good with it. So there's that. But also, dude, I'm a huge hunter. I barely hunted this season, and I'm just now getting to where I'm like hunting a bunch, and it's late season, and I've kind of lost my chance on a lot of the hunts that I wanted to do, and it was because I was trying to play shows and get these shows and playing background music shows to make bills, and it's just like, dude, I'm not doing that shit anymore. I'm not giving up the things that I love to go and eat shit at some you know pizza bar or brewery or corporate event or something like that. Like, I'm just not doing that shit anymore. And but yeah, I mean, the thing about it is, it's like everything's gonna have to totally, that pendulum's gonna have to swing all the way back to where people want real shit again, and that's cooler than having this huge production to put on your story on Instagram. That, or Netflix is, this Netflix show is cooler than this. And it's like, at the end of the day, dude, like, you get more out of going and being around people and having a good time at a bar, listening to live music or a band that you've never heard. You get more. You can't tell me that that's not more fulfilling than hole up in your house, scrolling on TikTok or watching something on Netflix or doing that and just staying by yourself. But it's what people are doing. And it's just like, yeah, man, you probably should eat some broccoli, but that ice cream is way better, you know?
right.
It's just that initial, that quick satisfaction. And like I said, man, the shitty part about it is I don't know that there is anything that we can even do about it other than just keep doing our shit. And the good part is that all we got to do is just keep doing our shit. So
Yeah, you just
just,
gotta live your life for you and stop trying to live
yeah,
it for everybody else and stop writing. That's the problem. What happened is the whole industry got to writing, playing shows for for the general public and writing for the general public, and that's why everything's been dumbed down, and that's why there's so many songs about fucking Yeti coolers and Chevy pickup trucks and go down the list, because the general person, man, like I said, they're listening to music to tap their foot. They're not listening to music to actually understand what you're trying to say. And it just is what it is, man. Like I said, you can I've been railing on it for 2 years, man, and it just it's a waste of breath, and here we've been talking about it for 45 minutes.
yeah, I waste of breath, but I think it's just a good bitch session is what we just had, honestly,
Yeah,
more than anything.
and I think a lot of people that hear it, like, they get it, they understand what we're saying, and a lot of musicians listen to this thing, and they're like, "Dude, everything you're saying, that, it's spot on." And now the general public disagrees with me a lot, but they don't fucking know. Like, they don't know shit, and it's about
That's why you're behind
everything.
the
You don't
mic.
know anything about anything because you consume so much bullshit that you think you know everything about everything. When the truth is, I'm gonna tell you right now, I'm not a virology expert. I don't know about the status of a fucking injection to, you know what I mean? Like, I don't
Yeah.
know. So I'm not gonna get way involved and put it in that shit. I don't know about Europe, and I don't know about Venezuela, and I don't know about Russia and Ukraine or Israel and all this shit. I mean, I know what I've read, but I don't know shit. What I
Yeah.
do know is the music business.
Yeah.
I know the music business. I'm an expert in the music business. I've lived it for 30 fucking years. You, on the other hand, you've just been buying tickets to go to shows for however long. You don't know shit about fuck, right? At the end of the day, that's the problem. But you have to deal with it because you put it out there on the internet, and then you got all these people that think they know everything about everything that's just going to come at you. And so it's really just a lose-lose situation. It's why there's so much suicide and drug abuse and alcoholism in the entertainer world. It's why people that are famous are killing themselves. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
you go down the list. And so it's a societal problem. It's not a music business problem. It's a societal problem. Society has lost its way. You know, if there's anything that I would equate it to is in the Bible in Sodom and Gomorrah. You know, I think we're at that point right now where society is just so fucking lost and
Mhm.
so thrown off, um, that if something major doesn't happen to change society in general, we're completely doomed. That's the way I honestly feel about it. And, you know, so I'm just gonna have as much fun as I can and talk to as many people as I can and write as many songs as I can
Mhm.
between now and the time the world fucking blows up. That's the only really.
Yeah, dude, I mean, there's not shit else to do about it. It's, for me, like, we all go, I think everybody's gone through those phases of like, man, people want more of these songs. I need one of these songs. I need a song that has this feel for this show. Like, I need all this and that and the other. Um, I'll do that every once in a while. Like, I'm playing the Mercury Lounge this Friday, and I'll just like, dude, let's like Tulsa this up a little bit, But at the end of the day, like, there's still my songs. Like, the shit that I'm writing about is just the way that and that's the way that I write. And for me, like, what I've done, like, I probably haven't written a song. I haven't sat down and written in probably a month now because I've been burned out. But what I have been doing is reading more and diving in. Like, Jason Isbell is, in my opinion, the best writer alive right now. I will go to my grave saying that. And I will be surprised if I find another writer for the rest of my life that I like better than. And diving into all of his stuff, even his new record, when it came out with it, I was like, man, this one didn't really hit quite as hard. And so what I did is I had a long drive and I listened to it and I was like, I'm going to make myself listen to all of this. And if I don't really catch a song and it doesn't, like, I don't grasp where the story's going and what the point of it is, I'm going to re-listen to it. And I did. And I love that record because I love his writing and the way that he goes with it. And it's like, okay, that's the stuff that I want to put in my songs. That's the type of writing that I want to have, is where it's like, find the coolest way to say the most normal shit. And that's what I
100%.
want.
Yeah, same here. You know, my favorite, my Mount Rushmore, the number one on Mount Rushmore is John Moreland, in my opinion.
Okay.
You might see him at the Mercury Lounge. He is hanging out there all the time.
Yeah.
Um, I've never met him in person, but man, I like John Moreland is my number one
Mm-hmm.
top dog. I mean,
Yeah, I know a
Jason
bunch of
Isbell.
guys that know him and yeah, everybody talked about it, like, dude, that dude has got some talent. That dude has got something there.
Yeah, Jason Isbell's like 1A for me. But there's
Mm-hmm.
also got like, I don't know if you know John T from the Teague Brothers, who's just apps. I mean, just check him out. He's just a fucking golly, dude. It's insane.
I
You
think
know,
I have.
17-year-old Tulsa boy up there, like
Who is it?
unbelievable. Ty Smith, 17 years old, and is
I didn't
like,
know he was 17.
yeah. When you hang out with him, you feel like he's 25 or 30. He's like he's just a stellar writer. There's so many good Chris Cunningham up in Fort Worth, fantastic writers. But again, man, like if a tree falls in the woods and nobody hears it, then it fall. It's kind of like the same way. Like I had Chad Cook on here the last episode, and his thing has always been, dude, it's all about the song. It's all about the song. You write the right song, it'll find its way. And I don't believe that anymore. You know, I just don't believe that anymore because
Yeah.
there's so many songs being released. You know,
Dude, I've told so many people that, and maybe Jake Stringer was the best man at my wedding, but I don't know if you know who he is, but I keep telling everybody, like, dude, the fact that he is not picked up and requested on so many tours is the way that I know that this business is fucked up. Because that dude can write a fucking song and puts on a show and has an interesting voice. Like, he has everything that you would think that somebody that's gonna, burn the fucking barn down needs. And, he's still just a fucking road dog like the rest of us. He's further ahead than I am, but the fact that he's not getting picked up on these giant tours and getting requested for these giant tours is how I know this business is fucked.
Yeah, I mean, look at Brent Cobb, look at Adam Hood. I mean,
Fuck,
like,
dude, Brent Cobb is a gnarly fuck, and it's just like, how is he not above 90% of who's out there?
right. Yeah. How is Brent Cobb not more well known than Gavin Adcock? Like,
Exactly. And fucking dude, and when you're like, we were talking about like partying at a show, like, yeah, the dude runs around with a whiskey bottle and like that and has, whatever. But it's just like, have you heard the new Brent Cobb record? Like, does it not make you want to jump through a 3-story window? Like, what the fuck?
yeah.
It's a
Yeah. And that's
ripping record.
the way I feel about it too, man. You know, but again, I mean, a lot of it's our fault. A lot of it is a lot of it's and I don't mean us as like you and me, but like collectively as musicians, when you're half-assing stuff. I used to do a weekly artist spotlight. And what I would do is, and I've got a pretty good following on social media. I'm around 50 something thousand followers on Facebook or whatever,
Mm-hmm.
15 or so on Instagram, 10 on TikTok. And so I have a pretty good following on the social medias. I used to do a weekly artist spotlight. And what I would do is I would take an artist, I would do a deep dive on them, and then I would do like this cool little write up about them. And then
Okay.
I went back, I did it for like every week for like 2 years or something. And I went back and I looked at the stats of how many people shared it. And it was like less than 10. And I looked at how many people commented to say thank you, and it was less than 10. And you're talking about hundreds of them. And so what I just stopped doing it because it's like, why am I going to use my platform to shine a light on somebody then they don't even give two fucks that I'm doing it?
Yeah, dude. It's just like because this business is 100% relationships, or
100.
it used to be.
Yep.
But that used to be a valued. It's very much not valued anymore. And it's like, dude, if you don't have those relationships and you're not, you know, giving that back and forth, it's like, dude, let me bring you on a show. Put me on a show. Let's go back and forth. Let's co-write something. Share my song and I'll share your song. Like, doing that and then boosting each other up kind of thing. It's like, you have to do that shit. And it's just like, dude, the guys that, like the guy that I'm playing with Friday, Joey Friendo. I cut a record with some Tulsa guys, and they were like, "Dude, you meet Joey?" And then I listened to his stuff. I was like, "Damn, dude!" And we just started chatting about stuff. We started talking about doing some co-writing, and he sent me his uh, tunes that he cut, and I'm like, "Dude, this dude is fucking amazing." And it's just like, "Dude, I'm your biggest cheerleader now." Like, and I'll be that way for a lot of my buddies, you know.
Me too.
And the thing about it is like, because they do it for me, even if I'm like, yeah, your music's okay or good, I'm not going to say that to their face a lot of times, but I'm
Right.
still going to like pump them up because like they do it for me, you know? And then
Yeah,
when you turn around
100%.
and get somebody that's like, Joey, where I'm just like, dude, he's like up there with Jake Stringer to me, is just like, I'm a legitimate fan of yours. It's just like that much easier. And then, turn around and I'm like, you know, you got any opener on that Merc show? He's like, nope, come on. And it's just, that's the way it should work.
No, I 100% agree, man. But it's just everything's so fake. Everything is just so fake. Like, there are people out there that think that I'm famous. There are musicians out there that think like I'm a big deal. I mean, and I guess, I don't know, man. I've had a good run, but my my most streamed song's only 75,000 spins on Spotify. Like, it's not like I'm getting millions and millions of spins. Been lucky enough to have a few videos go viral to get those followers up, but I get people once a week sending me a message, "Hey man, if you ever need somebody to open up for you, let me know." But it's always digitally. Right? It's always like an Instagram message, or it's always this, and it's like, man, like, if you really want me to pay attention to you, come meet me firsthand. Like,
Come buy a
come to
ticket.
shows and introduce yourself. I'm way more likely to put you on a bill with me if I have shaken your hand, if I've sat in the same room with you. I'm much more likely than I am if you just send me a message on Instagram. I mean,
For sure.
it's not the way it works. You gotta get off your fucking dead ass and you gotta go to the venues and you gotta meet these people. You know, you gotta go support them. You gotta go to, like I try to go to as many shows as I can go when I'm off. I went to Peyton Howie's birthday show. I go see Trent Cowie. I show up randomly at Chad Cook shows. I show up randomly at Randall King shows. Like, it's just a random thing. And so, and people ask me all the time, like, hey, how do you get sponsorships? And I'm like, you just gotta be at the right place, the right time. And at the right place, the right time is not sitting on your couch smoking weed. Like, the right place, the right time is being out with people. If you're playing a festival and you want to be cool and just hang out in the green room the whole time and never go out into the crowd, like, you're not gonna get a sponsorship. Like, because people are see you as not approachable. You have to be approachable to get sponsorships. You have to be approachable to get these. People ask me all the time, you're so lucky because you get to open up for all these people and all these festivals and shit. I'm like, luck, motherfucker. Like, while you were bitching and moaning and complaining because your song wasn't getting played on the radio, or because you got a number one and you were putting all your effort in getting a number one on small market radio, while you were doing that, I was out actually going out to people's shows and hanging out with them, like
Yeah.
go and like I opened up for William Clark Green like 3 times and never even met him. And
Yeah.
then one night my buddy Trent Cowie opened up for him. So I went and hung out with Trent, and him and Trent had went and played golf that day. And so now me and William Clark Green, we know each other. We're not friends or anything, but we go in the room, we can talk to each other. And
Yeah.
now if he's playing a venue that I'm connected with and I send them a message and be like, hey, I would like to open up for William Clark Green. Is that cool? And they'll be like, well, let me check, because they always reach out to the camp. Well, now the camp knows me.
Yeah.
That's how you get the gigs. You don't get the gigs by but let me tell you this, if you're small level, you don't get the gigs by getting a booking agent, because they're just going to bury you. They're just going to bury you until you give them a reason to book you. Period. End of sentence. That's happened to everybody I know that's signed with big booking agents. They're going
Yeah.
to bury. The way you get gigs is you go out and you network and you meet other artists as much as possible. Network, 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 network. In person.
Yeah. I've got a booking agent right now. I use, and the reason that she works so well, she does a lot more of the, she busts her ass for me, realistically. She's got me on some super cool shows. But the biggest thing that she's good at is, like, when you're a full-time musician that's on this level, she's like, okay, I'm going to keep you busy and keep your bills paid, is the biggest thing that she's good at,
Right. So
and
she's getting $300, $400, 3 hour, 4 hour shows.
yeah, and that's what, when I needed that stuff, and that was what I had to do. Like, awesome. And and we've had a couple meetings where, like, hey, let's switch our focus and the types of shows. And she's like, all right, cool. Let's, what you need, then we'll switch that and the focus, and we're going to push more towards these kinds of shows. So she's
Right,
worked out really well for that.
but then what happens is, and that's what I mean. You can definitely find some small booking agents going to help you get
Hmm.
gigs. What I'm
Yeah.
talking about, it's very hard to find a booking agent that's going to actually move the needle in helping you build a brand. That's
Yeah,
what
yeah, and
I'm
like we
at.
were saying, like the bigger booking agents, they're like, you're not at the level to where we want you yet, and so we're not going to put the effort into you until you are at that level to where our time investment into you is going to actually have some traction to it, which is backwards, because it's just like, no, I need your help to get to that point where your investment makes sense into me, and
Well,
it's
the whole business is like the artist who's the output, and then everybody else a bunch of fucking leeches just sucking off us, man. Every single one of them, from the booking agent to the managers to the cameramen to the fucking photographers to the digital, creator, like whatever. It's just like everybody's just kind of coming in and being like, okay, this guy's got some talent. He's going to make a little bit of money. How can I take it all? Like, that's it. That's the music business. That's just business. It's not the
yeah,
music. That is just business. That's why it's best to just take the business out of it and do it for the love of music. Do it for the love
that's
of art.
all you can do, it, brother.
Let's switch gears a little bit. You got any cool Any cool tour stories? Any cool, like crazy shit that happened on the road that you can tell that won't get you in trouble with your wife?
Well, she's surprisingly, she's pretty cool there. She, she hears these stories and she's like, what in the fuck is wrong with you? But no, she, she likes my stories, or I won't say likes them, but,
She
can
tolerates it.
listen to them without jumping my ass about it or anything like that. And she's like chalks it up to me being a dumbass. So, um, man, I've got a bunch. So when I was when I was touring, um, the first tour I went on, we hopped in with this band and was replacing a vocalist, and the drummer owned the bus. And it wasn't like a van tour. He owned like an 80s Prevost bus that he had gutted and put bunks in and done the whole thing with. And I was like, all right, sick. And we go to, it was like 3 or 4 venues that we had guarantees at, and in a row got stiffed 3 or 4 times, 3 or 4 shows in a row. And we were supposed to have a 2-week break and head back to Detroit. And we didn't have enough money for diesel to get back home for a 2-week break. And so we went to it was somewhere in North Carolina, and we went and found a campsite that we hooked the bus up to. And we're like, listen, we don't have any money. Can you cut us a deal? Is this like peak season? They're like, this is pretty busy season, but tell you what, unload all your gear, play some shows for us, and then we'll do it for free. And it's just like, okay. So we lived on a campground and ate ramen and drank Rolling Rock beers for like 2 weeks. And it was just like, okay. And dude, I sat there and got sunburned and wrote music and lived in the middle of the mountains on a lake for 2 weeks. And it's one of my most fond memories of any of that stuff. And it was just like, there was another time we were in Kentucky, and our drummer took the turn too hard, and every bit of coffee that came out of that cabinet, and for probably months and months and months, didn't matter how much you vacuumed, if you walked across that thing barefoot, you just felt like you were walking on sand for those coffee grounds on that bus, dude. But yeah, dude, there's so many stories you get on the road, and that's just like that's why I love the road, man. And
Me
that's why I
too.
talk to my wife is, she doesn't understand a lot of that stuff because that wouldn't be her thing anyway. She would not enjoy it. She would enjoy like the camping side of it, but then it's just like, all right, let's go back home. But that was, if I didn't do that, like I probably wouldn't be as developed and I guess know myself that well if I hadn't just been just a degenerate road dog for so long.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the one thing too, man. Like if you're a young artist, you're listening to this, you know, you got to get your expectations in check because nothing ever goes as planned when you're on the road. Like nothing ever goes as planned. There's always, and if you're getting all butt hurt every time something goes wrong, you're not going to make it. You're just not. I mean, it's from stuff catching on fire to, I mean, my travel trailer got picked up by a tornado one night and
No
threw down and
shit.
busted the fucking axle on it. You know what I mean? You just don't ever know. I mean, especially like when you're driving, you play a gig, you get off at, let's say you start at 9 and you play a 90-minute set. So at 10:30, you're done. You get off, you go to merch, you hang out with everybody. You finally roll out of the venue, 11 or 12, 1, 2 o'clock in the morning. You get in, you start driving, you want to catch as many hours as you can drive and still be able to get a hotel room and catch enough or sleep wherever, whatever.
Yeah.
Like, and the next thing you know, you're driving through Midland, Texas, and it's fucking tornado season, and it's raining, and and you don't know what to do. From that to pulling over and sleeping, and you don't make it to your next gig the next night, and you have to call and explain to them why you're not there. There's just a million things that can go wrong, and if you're not the type of person that can have fun in that environment, you are gonna be fucking miserable.
Very much so. And I would tell every single person, honestly, I would tell every person, whether they're a musician or not, is to do some shit like that. Like, go be broke for a while, go travel around, go see some new spots. Like, dude, just fuck around for a while and just do your own thing and figure out how to go keep breathing and eating in a new place where you don't have anybody to help you do it.
Yeah.
And
Not only that, it makes you a better writer. Here's the deal.
yeah,
If you graduate high school, okay, and I know plenty of people that do this. You graduate high school, you immediately start going out playing music, and then 3 or 4 years you become a full-time musician. Guess what? You're never gonna be a great songwriter.
mm-mm.
And the reason you're never gonna be a great songwriter, because the moment you decide I'm gonna be a full-time musician, every decision you make from that point forward is about being a full-time musician. And so the only thing you're gonna be able to write about is the pitfalls of the music industry, the heartbreak because, your girl left you because you're gone all the time. Uh, you're never gonna be able to go out and write songs about really living life. You're not gonna be able to write a cool story about, you know, uh whatever, going somewhere that has nothing to do with music, and because a lot of times you're on the road, you don't have time to stop and see shit. Like you play the show and you go to the next show and you go to the next show and you go to the next show. So it's like you got to get out and you got to live life, dude. You have to. If not, what's going to happen is you're going to be a shitty writer and you're going to have to depend on cutting other people's songs to be successful.
Yeah,
You know?
exactly. And that's, and the thing about it is like it can be studied. It can be a very intentional thing. And I like to make it a very intentional thing, like the whole Willie Nelson thing about if it's not written in one sitting, it's not a good song. Like there's something to that because most of my best songs, I think probably did come out right then. But some of the ones that I like best are ones that I have dissected and gone through. And like I said, done like the whole Jason Isbell thing to where I think he has the coolest way of saying normal shit. And it's like, that happens where it's like, okay, is there a better way to do this? Where is like the weak point in this song? And I'll do that and I'll bounce that stuff off my wife. And she's painfully honest. Sometimes she's like, sounds tacky as fuck. I'm like, shit. Okay. And so rework it, and
You need
for her,
that. You need
oh yeah.
have those people that are honest with you. That's another thing that's a big detriment to the industry is there's just a lot of people that are out playing that aren't very good and nobody's ever told them they're.
And dude, that's one thing is like, I was going to say this earlier is that it's one of those things where it's like, I feel like I put my life and soul into my music the last 2 years. And I think that it's easily the best music that I've ever played because I've put everything into it and I love it. And I think my writing is solid on these songs. I think that the musicians I used were solid on these songs. The recordings I got out of these were also solid. Like the guy that I use in Springfield, him and Orrin Thornton, Jeff Smith and Orrin Thornton do Brent Cobb's records. They've done the last 2 of them. I got to listen to, Southern Star with like just raw stems and everything like that. I'm like, I am definitely working with this guy. And then I went down to Little Rock, Arkansas and worked with Jason, man, I can't remember his last name. He's with Fellowship Hall Sound, Fellowship Hall Studio down in Little Rock. And he's done like Pony Bradshaw was the main reason that I went down there because Pony's one of my favorite musicians as well. One of my favorite writers. It's just such a vibey dude. But he's worked with a bunch of names. John Fulbright, he plays with John Fulbright in his traveling band, in his touring band. And so it's like all of this stuff. And I'm like, man, I'm doing all this stuff, what I feel like is the right way and putting my stuff or my resources into the right spots. So is it that all of these people are just blowing smoke up my ass when they come to my shows and say, you're unbelievable. They come and freak out and I'm like, great. There's plenty of days where I don't see that being the case. And is it that I'm unbelievable and it's just the industry these days? Or is it that I'm not up to par and like you said, different enough or original enough kind of thing to fill a room up? And what I've come to is that I don't give a shit. And I'm going to keep writing the way I want to write. I'm going to play the shows that I want to play. I'm going to stop playing the shows that I don't want to play. And at some point, I'm going to make enough friends in enough towns to where when I go somewhere, I can sell fucking tickets and I'm going to have fun doing it and have fun all the way up to it. And it's just
Hell
kind of
yes. See,
what I figured out for
that's
it.
the victory monologue right there, dude. That is the way, like, that's what I'm getting into as well, you know? I'm not gonna lie, man, like, 2024, I was super fucking negative, man. Like, I was negative, I was in a relationship that was just sucking the fucking life out of me,
That'll do it faster than anything.
on top of the music industry sucking what was left out of me, so yeah, but now, man, now I'm like, "Let's go." Like, now it's like,
Mhm.
no, I'm chasing 2 things. I'm chasing people that want to listen to my music, that care about my music, and I'm chasing peace, and if they don't do one of those 2 things or both, I'm not fucking interested.
It's not worth your time.
So don't come in. I literally just turned down a $5,000 wedding, just me and my guitar. I just turned it down. I was like, "No, I'm not, I don't wanna do it." Like, I know that I could do that and I would have 5,000 bucks to go right to my record, but I'm not, my soul it has nothing left for you to suck out. Like, general population, I don't have anything left in my soul for you to suck out, so I have to spend this time replenishing my soul. Like, that's the way I look at it, and but in doing that, I'm much more positive now, I'm happier, you know, this new job is, like, is really checking my boxes,
Mm.
and it's just such a better way to live, man,
What'd you go to for your new job?
what is that?
What are you doing now as a regular job?
So I'm marketing director for one of my buddy. He has like 4 or 5 companies, and
Okay.
I'm marketing director for his stuff. And I mean, it's not a lot of money, but it's enough money to pays my bills. And then what it allows me to do, you know, like starting next year, there's this bar on in the Woodlands, not far from my house, that literally the day they opened until 2021, I played there every Wednesday. So it was like 17 or 18 years I was playing there every Wednesday. Might have been 16, I don't know. But then when I started touring, I stopped. I only played there every now and then. Well, starting next year, I'm taking my Wednesdays back.
Oh
You know,
yeah.
it pays like 350. I always make like $100 in tips. So it's 500 bucks that I'll make ish around 500. And then what that does is that it's a every Wednesday show. It's an easy show. I can now take that 4 or 500 I make every single week and put directly to the studio or directly to paying. Like I owe one of my friends a substantial amount of money, so I need to get him paid back. I think about that every fucking day. It's another thing that's just weighing on me. He's the only one I owe money to, and I need to get him paid off. But it's like it's allowing me to just focus. It's a lot easier for me to sit down and play a 3-hour show where I'm gonna play Wagon Wheel for the tips and stuff. It's a lot easier to do it when I know that that money's not going to my life.
Yeah. Dude,
Right? It's
it's
a lot
it's
easier for
so
me to
much
get on
better.
stage and play these stupid fucking songs for a bunch of people that don't care when I know that this is gonna actually get me closer to putting out my next record. As
Yes.
opposed to, "No, no, 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 this is just like."
I have to do this to eat.
Right, like, dude, I'm not even kidding, man. I just got current on my car note for the first time in, like.
That's the most musician thing I've
Right.
heard in a long time. Yeah.
Yeah, man, because it's like that's the struggle of it because it's like, "Okay, I'm gonna go do this run. I need at least $1,000 in the bank to pay for this run. I don't know how much I'm gonna make. Oh, sorry, truck note, you're gonna have to wait till I get back to see what I make, and then I can only send you 250 bucks, so we'll see what happens." You know, that you kinda, like, have to pick and choose on what you spend your money on and what you do.
We've all been
With
there.
having a job, you don't have to do that. Now hard part is find a job that has flexible enough, which I don't really have that right now. I'm not really sure how that's gonna work out. You know, it's a pretty demanding job, but I think once I get my hands around it, I'm gonna be able to be like, "Okay, we got my hands around it. This is scheduled, blah, blah, blah. I'm gonna hit the road for a week, and we'll see what happens." I'm pretty
That's
sure my
really
boss.
what I'm looking for now, yeah.
Yeah, and
That's
that's
I
it, and that's what you gotta find, you know, you gotta find that person that believes in you that's willing to give you a job that you know whatever it's hard it's you know it's a hard industry. I tell people all the time, if I would have put the time and effort into literally anything else over the last 30 years, I'd be a fucking billionaire by now.
yeah, a portion of the effort that you do in this stuff. That's what with a job thing, dude, I was gonna go back to a company that I was with before I started playing full time. And it was a thing, one of those things where like, dude, go chase that. Like you'll always have a place here, all that thing. And it was going to be a setup to where it was like Monday through Thursday, and I could leave Thursday night for a run and get back Sunday kind of deal. I was like, oh, that's perfect. And I'm pretty sure. So when I did the interviews with them, I was in a van with Jake going to do a run down in Texas around Austin and San Antonio. And, they passed me up for the job, and I'm pretty sure it's just because I was like, no, I'm still going to play shows. I'm still gonna write music and do all this stuff. And I think because it wasn't like, oh, you were just gonna be, the grown up, pullover wearing sweater vest guy that we need you to be. We don't want you there.
Yeah.
And so that's something that you got to find a balance of if you're going to do it. And it's that thing where it's like, yeah, I'm just doing it for the love of the music, but I love it enough to, find something to where the music still works too.
Yeah, for sure. You have to. I mean, I have to. I think if you're a true artist, I mean, dude, you're a songwriter, right? You're a songwriter through and through. I mean, I can hear it. That's why I was wondering, if you write most of your stuff, like like you're a songwriter and you're an artist, and that's the difference between people like you and me and people that are just chasing the fame. They're not artists. They're not artists. I don't care what anybody says. If you're not writing, at least co-writing some of your album or some of your songs, you're not an artist. You're a singer and you're an
Your voice.
entertainer,
Yeah.
but you're not an artist. And if you're not an artist, you don't know it. You don't know the pain and the struggle and the thoughts and everything that goes, the twisted fucking bullshit that is going on in our minds.
Yeah, dude, it's not
Yeah.
your baby getting shut down. It's not your baby that is eating shit whenever you play it in front of a room of nobody or a room of 300 people that they just look at you and go back to their phone or their beer or whatever.
Yeah.
You don't have the same investment into what you're doing if you're not making that art from, womb to tomb kind of thing.
Yeah, every legit artist that I know is tormented. Every single one of them. I don't care how fucking famous they are. I don't care how many tickets they're selling. Every single true, real artist I know is just tormented after a certain age. And there's a lot of these 16, 17, 18-year-old kids that are gonna be fantastic artists that just haven't hit that wall. They don't know yet. But man, it just is. It is what it is. It's just it's a constant kick in the fucking dick. That's the only way to say it.
I've said that so much, dude.
It's
It is.
constant rejection. It's constant no, 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 no. And then you get a yes, and then they fuck you over. So it's like, it's just the business. It is what it is, man. And you either have to figure out a way to thrive in that, or you're going to be absolutely 100% miserable. And I refuse to be miserable anymore. I'm happy, and I'm happy you're doing the things that you're going to do to make you happy. I think we're going to be friends. The more we talk, the more it's like, oh, this dude's my dude.
Absolutely, dude.
So I want to get you down here to Texas. I want to come up there and play with you. Like this
me
is
up,
how
man.
we build friendships, and this is how we get all of this to work. We get all this to
Exactly.
work by having these conversations with people we don't know and get to know them, really get to know what makes them tick, instead of, oh, so and so just opened up for Cody Johnson. I'm gonna see if I can get on one of his shows.
Yeah.
No, man. Like, call them up and be like, hey, bro, I got tickets to the Astros game. You want to go with me?
Yeah, let's get a fucking beer. Let's do
Yeah,
something
let's
and
have
be real
fun.
people.
I'm going to show up to I'm going to go to one of his shows and introduce myself and shake his hand and buy a ticket and buy a t-shirt and be like, dude, thank you. Dude, y'all were great. Man, like we got to get back to just being a brotherhood, dude, and building a brotherhood. And that's what I'm trying to build. And I have some great people in that brotherhood that we don't always agree. Sometimes we disagree. Shit. Sometimes we even fucking flat out spat. But at the end of the day, it's that shared goal of wanting to share the joy of music and have human experiences. And
Yes.
that's the key. How do we get back to having human experiences? Fuck this I mean, I don't even like doing this podcast like this. The only reason I'm podcast like this is because I have so many guests that wanted to come on my old one that that we could never get in the same room. And I want to open my podcast up to a lot more people. That's why I'm doing this whole remote thing. I don't really like it. I'm not going to lie. I would much rather you be sitting in a room, right across from me, and where we can shake hands and give each other a hug and high five and read body language and all those things. I would
Yeah.
rather that be the case. But unfortunately, this is the fastest and most economic way to do this.
Well, shit, dude. Let's get some shows put together, and then we'll get a mobile studio put together if you're up here or something like that, and then we'll
Yeah,
just
for
do it
sure.
again. And
Or
it'll be more
whatever.
positive next time. It'll be
Well,
less of a bitch fest, and it'll be and
I don't think that you're gonna talk to a real artist and there's gonna be a lot of positivity come out.
not right
Not
now,
a real
man. It's
artist. I mean,
yeah,
there's definitely people, like I'm friends with Sundance Head, and he tries to be super positive. He is super positive, but man, like you can see it. Like you can see it in some of his posts, you can see it in some of his songs. You can just kind of see it in his body language that he's just as tormented as you. I don't know a single artist right now that's just like, woo,
it's fine. Yeah, and
other than
that's
Jelly Roll. Like, I mean,
yeah,
everybody else is having, I mean, just look at Dylan Wheeler, and I mean, just look at all these people that are taking these mental breaks, and Bree Bagwell is legit one of the most positive, nicest people I've met in my life. And then I watched her podcast, and she's crying about the state of the music industry. It's like, it's just, I think anyone that's involved in this industry on the level that we are is gonna be, it's very hard to be positive because there's not a lot to be
yeah.
positive about. Now
It's
you got to find it. You got to find the positivity.
yeah,
Like I find a positivity. I met a new person tonight that hopefully we become buddies and support each
yeah.
other's careers, man. Like I'm here. Send me your stuff. Let's get it out there, man. Like you're great. You're great, great. And so,
Thank you, dude.
yeah, man. Like I love your shit. I don't remember what the first song it was that I heard. And I'm not really good about remembering specific songs, but it's like the timbre in your voice. It like what you do kind of checks all my boxes on the stuff I like.
Hell yeah, thank you,
You know what I
man.
mean?
It's yeah, and that's like I said, it was one of those things, and actually, when I moved back to Missouri, I quit music for a while. I sold $20,000 worth of gear. I had this Blue Ridge behind me that I've had since I was 16 or 17 years old. That's been everywhere with me to like 40 something states. Like that's all I had left. And I was still writing, but I was just doing it for myself. And I ended up meeting a buddy down here that was a producer and showed him some tunes. And I was like, man, I kind of want to maybe get back in the studio or do something. And showed him some songs. He's like, dude, we're getting those back in the studio. And 6 months later, I was playing full time again. And, it worked out cool. It's like, even if I wanted to just quit, I don't think music would ever actually let me go.
Right,
Which I
right, right.
love that about it. Um, but yeah, you gotta like I've been to both ends of the spectrum to where it's like, yeah, I'm gonna half-ass this. And I've done a lot of half-assing it over the years. And I decided I was going to just dive in and do it full time and learned a fuck ton. I learned everything that I say everything. I learned everything I needed to know about it for this time because I learned that it's not what I'm supposed to be doing right now. It's not the best way to do it.
Right.
It's not the way to have longevity in your career. You're not going to get rich doing it. You're going to make some bills, and do that stuff. But it's like, at the end of the day, it's like, dude, I can be so much happier. I can take, an entire, a month or two off from shows and go hunt next year because I'll have a job to do that and just play the shows that I want to do, man. I'm done compromising, time with my wife and my kid and compromising my time with my family when, I should be at deer camp like we've done every year since I was a little kid for some company that I'm like, yeah, I got to do this to pay some bills. It's not worth it. So play the shows that you want to play. You're gonna have a better show. You're gonna gain more followers and fans that way anyway, because you're gonna enjoy it and do it.
You
And
have
those
more
people
fun.
that are really locked in and hitched on, they're gonna come with you for it, whatever you're doing.
Yep. 100%, man. I couldn't have said it better. I think that's probably a good place to close it. I
Hell yeah.
definitely want to get you back on. I'm probably gonna have like the guests that I really like. I'm gonna have like reoccurring like once every 6 months or so, 4 to 6
Yeah.
months.
I'd
Check
love
back
to do it, man.
going on. I definitely want to have repeat episodes with people just to kind of keep everybody, because sometimes I'm doing like 2 or 3 of these a week because
Yeah.
with this new app, it's super easy. I can do this.
Yeah, this was super easy.
Once it gets zipped up, I mean, I can literally have the full episode ready to go in 20 minutes if I want to. So,
Yeah. Well,
all right.
shit, dude. Let's set up some shows and do it live next time.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. We definitely need to, man. Dude, it was so good to meet you, man.
Dude, you as well. Thank you again for having me on.
Yeah, dude, for sure, man. Just keep going, man. Keep going and keep writing and keep putting out music, because the world, why it might not be the entire world, people in the world need to hear what you're saying, and they need to hear
Yeah.
it from your mouth. And
Yeah.
that's the way I think that every single songwriter should be.
I agree. I very much agree.
Like, stop, you know, stop getting on these fucking apps and singing covers badly. Like, if you're gonna sing, if you're not that good, then write your own music and do that badly, because
Yeah, sing your own songs bad.
creating something of worth, as opposed to just ruining something. So,
Exactly.
all right, buddy. Well, peace out, man. You have a good night, and
You too,
Merry
brother.
tell the
Hey, you
family
too, man.
Christmas and Happy New Year. And I hope that 2026 is. I hope something happens and you launch to the top of the fucking charts, bro. Because, man, I just want all my friends to win.
Hell yeah, dude. Same to you, brother, and we'll talk soon.
All right. Remember, don't go anywhere till we get done. So, all right.
Deal.
Peace.
Peace.